If you are hearing this right now, then please do not ignore it, because what I am about to tell you is something I still struggle to accept as real. And before anything else, just ask yourself honestly, have you ever been on something that looked completely normal, but felt slightly wrong in a way you cannot explain? Because that is exactly what happened to me. Welcome to my channel with Anna7. And now let's step into the story. My name is Daniel Ross, and this happened during what was supposed to be a routine night flight from Istanbul to London. Nothing special, normal airport, normal boarding, normal passengers. Everything looked fine from the outside. But the moment I stepped into the plane, I noticed something that didn't make sense. The cabin was too quiet, not empty quiet, but unnatural quiet, like sound itself had been reduced on purpose. I sat down and tried to ignore it, but a few minutes before takeoff, I noticed something across the aisle. A passenger was already sitting there, but I never saw anyone take that seat during boarding. The flight attendant walked past and paused for a second too long before continuing without saying anything. Would you have asked about it or convinced yourself it was nothing? The plane took off normally, engines stable, no turbulence. Everything felt fine at first. But about 30 minutes into the flight, something changed very subtly. The cabin lights flickered once, and the engine sound felt slightly distant, like it was not fully connected anymore. People started looking around, but no one spoke, and that silence started feeling heavier, like the air inside the plane was getting thicker. Then the captain came on the intercom, but his voice sounded slightly delayed, like it was not perfectly matching the system. He asked if anyone had noticed any changes in seating or anything unusual inside the cabin. At that moment, I started paying attention to everything. A few minutes later, the seat map screens above us flickered, and for a brief second, an extra row appeared at the back of the plane. A row no one remembered during boarding. When a flight attendant passed by, I asked her about it. She looked confused, then said that row should not exist on this aircraft. And right after that, the atmosphere inside the cabin changed. Not fear exactly, but something deeper, like the plane itself had become aware that we noticed something. The intercom turned on again without warning. No greeting, just a question asking if anyone had changed seats after takeoff. But nobody had moved. Everyone was exactly where they were. And yet the system insisted something was different. A man across the aisle suddenly pointed at an empty seat and said there is someone there. But when we all looked, there was nothing. Only a seat belt slightly moving, like someone had just stood up. Would you still call that imagination at that point? Later during the flight, the lights flickered again, but this time they didn't fully return. Some parts of the cabin stayed slightly dimmer, like the plane was no longer fully synchronized. When I looked out the window, I saw something I still cannot explain. Another aircraft flying perfectly beside us. Same speed, same altitude. But air traffic control later confirmed there was nothing on radar except our flight. Then everything went silent again. No engines, no voices, no announcements. Just a complete break in normal sound. When sound returned, the captain sounded different. more controlled, but less confident. And then the autopilot changed the route without warning. The destination briefly switched to an airport code that did not exist in any system. And when the captain tried to correct it, the system responded first. "Welcome back." At that moment, the plane began descending. But no landing was announced. No preparation, no confirmation. Just a silent decision made by something inside the system. Outside the window, there were silhouettes standing on the runway, completely still waiting. But airport control later confirmed there was no landing scheduled, no ground crew, and no incoming aircraft. And yet we landed perfectly. No turbulence, no impact, too perfect. When the doors opened, the airport looked normal at first. But something was wrong. Every clock in the terminal was frozen at the same time, and every screen displayed the same message. Flight arriving, repeating over and over again. Security did not react to us. They did not speak. They did not guide anyone. And when I tried to leave, every exit brought me back to the same gate, no matter which direction I walked. And this is the part I still cannot explain. Because later I checked my phone, and there was a recording file I never created. And in it was my own voice saying, "We should not have landed here." And after that, only silence. So if you are still listening, then ask yourself one last question. What if some flights are not journeys at all, but systems that repeat something until someone notices it? If you made it this far, then you already know something wasn't right. So before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to With Anna 7, because the next story might feel even closer than this one. And trust me, some stories don't stay on the screen.